folks, welcome to the video. This is Hardy Gaming, and today I'm going to be showing you my kind of take on the usual stereotypical Ash Blast build. Now, this build, I'm just going to say disclaimer again, as I do usually do at the beginning of my videos, it's quite similar to the other builds I've done, and it will be using legendary items. So that's the disclaimer straight off the bat. This will, you could run this build without the legendary items, but it won't be anywhere near as strong. So yeah, I'm just going to jump straight into it, guys. So the gear you're going to be wanting is the 3-piece Akari. Now, as it is, the helmet, chest, and the legs are, I think, the best. Some people say that the funny-sided helmet is the best in the slot for Pyromancer. I don't think that, because the gloves and the boots both have health as their max stat, which is useless. So I would say that the best in the slot is actually the helmet, because this way I've got anomaly on all of my items, which is what you want. You want to get as much anomaly power as possible. So just running into the gear, guys, as you can see, I mean, ultimately it's the same gear. I have been tweaking my settings, my mods a little bit, and I've kind of finally got to a point where I'm really quite happy with how they are. I've just ran a Chemtown mission there. My fastest time ever, it was below 8 minutes. I think it was about 7 minutes and 40 or something. So that was my fastest time ever with this build, and that was with me taking 1.8 million damage as well, and I never went down. I was on my own, so it wouldn't have mattered. So yeah, let's just go through the items here. So as usual, we're running the Infernal Seed, probably the best Pyromancer weapon. It comes with the Wrath of Moloch mod, and I've rolled onto that the Fortress mod. That's apparently quite a difficult one to get. I would recommend running Moloch, the actual Frontline mission. I got 2 death shields in a space of about an hour. Saying that, they're the only 2 death shields that I've ever got, and it was perfect because I could then break one down and I kept one in the bank. But I would recommend running the Moloch mission. That seemed to have a higher drop rate. I haven't seen any drop rate tables yet. I don't know if it actually is a thing, but in my experience, that is what got me the death shield. So yeah, Wrath of Moloch and a Fortress mod I think is a great. The only thing I would say would make this gun even better is if it had armor piercing instead of critical damage, but can't have everything. My backup here is just going to be a rifle one-shot variant. I like these just because I can pop shots off at snipers. This is a slightly different one than I had the other day. I'm just trying it out. It's got weapon leech, skill leech, and long range damage. My theory is if I'm ever stuck behind a rock or something and I'm getting sniped, I can pull this out and then just burn someone down, and then gets me more health back. That's my idea. I haven't really used it, to be honest, that much. And then my backup is just a pistol here with a Wrath of Moloch and anomaly enhancement, which is actually a really good mod for the Pyromancer. Anything that gives you a set percent compared to your anomaly power is great, and you will see why that is. I mean, those of you that are familiar with the Akari set, you know that with the Akari set, you're generally running between 400,000 and 600,000 anomaly power, with the capacity to go higher if you hit enough enemies. I reckon with this setup I've got just now, at absolute max capacity, I could probably get around 800,000 anomaly power. So if I'm getting a 30% weapon power buff to that, it's you know, it's pretty awesome. So that is the weapons, guys. The gear is pretty much exactly the same. I've got the helmet of Akari here with the Fire Tsunami mod, which comes with it, and then I've added on the Burnt Out. I would say the Fire Tsunami is a quality of life mod, but I really like it. With it, you can set a whole room on fire, and with the Akari set, that just means that you are going to be setting more people on fire, you're going to be hitting more people, and therefore you're going to get more anomaly power. So that's what you want for that. The chest piece, again, another Akari piece here. I still, to this day, to be honest, regret rolling off the overheat mod that comes with this. I've been looking for another Akari piece. This is still the only one I've ever found, and that's with me now about 140 hours in Pyromancer. But yeah, but what I have done is I have put on Ride the Wave. So that's got Ride the Wave and Tidal Wave, so that's 2 more casts. I've got 3 casts of Heatwave now, and considering the extra width, you're pretty much being able to set entire rooms on fire, which is what you want. Leg pieces here, I have rolled on the Untamed Power mod. This mod is so understated. right? Now, the reason that it works so well with Pyromancer is because it says there the damage is equal to 30% of your anomaly power. Again, if you're doing 600,000-700,000 anomaly power, that will proc every single time. There's no cooldown, and here's the trick: melee counts as a skill. So you can be in the middle of a group of alphas as they're gangbanging you basically, and you just melee, and suddenly every single alpha around you has just taken 300,000 damage. You know, it's awesome, and you can just keep doing it. Any skill you cast, any melee you do, will trigger that. It's actually genuinely a brilliant mod. But as I said, because of the fact that it's from a set percent of your anomaly power, and that's why it works so well with the Pyromancer. The gloves I've got here, I've just managed to get myself some nice gloves and boots. So these have got anomaly power, status, and cooldown, which is what I want for this build. It came as with the Ash Blast, which is the only Ash Blast mod that you're going to need. Increases the skill range by 66%. The next mod here, this is a quality of life for myself. I am quite an aggressive player, especially with this build. You're going to need to get in, you're going to need to get close up to the enemies, and just having that straight up double basically hit armor and a little bit of resistance is really nice. Again, I would say it's probably a quality of life. You could choose to do something else here. An option would maybe be the the Dying Fire Breath mod, which I've shown you before. That's a really good option for this build. The problem with that is you are quite squishy, so you are more susceptible to instant death, which is still a thing. So that's that. And then moving on to the legs here. The shoes. I am again running a pair of boots here with anomaly cooldown and status. This came with the Phoenix Force, which has been fixed. This and the Blacksmith mod both have now been fixed, and they work beautifully. And then I've rolled on to that the Master Consumer, which is a tier 3 mod, which is pretty much vital for any Ash Blast build. What that does is the skill consumes either Burn or Ash status to deal damage, and if the target is affected by both, you do 150% extra damage, and that's where the main damage kind of this build is coming from. And the reason I said that Phoenix Force is so good now, I mean, if you look at it there, I'm actually doing 64,180 extra anomaly power, and it works. As does a Blacksmith. Yeah, I was running a Blacksmith mod yesterday, and I managed to get up to 450,000 armor with my Pyromancer. Saying that, I haven't really used it. You could probably put that on instead of damage absorber. The only thing is, as I said in previous videos, I like to have my base stats improved and then work from them. Whereas the Blacksmith mod, it only lasts for 8 seconds, and the overheat is around 9 or 10 seconds. So there's going to be that little window where you're going to have no armor, and that's all it can take in this game to just dead. So that's the gear, guys. The skills obviously quite easy to understand. Heat Wave, Overheat, and Ash Blast. Now, I would like a bit more cooldown. As I said, I don't have the Overheat mod, because with that, you would be able to cast Overheat twice for every Ash Blast, which would effectively increase your damage and your health. I just haven't. I said it's the one thing I regret. If you find an Akari piece, guys, do not roll off that mod. Yeah, it's the only thing I regret doing when it comes to my gear sets. So that's the skills, and then moving on to the class. This is a bit of a hybrid. However, it is a really, really good hybrid. It's got a bit of best of both. So what I've done is I've gone down here to grab a bit of anomaly power, a bit of cooldown, and then we're going to be going down to the with fire and anomaly, which activating explosive skills increases your anomaly power by 12% for 10 seconds. That should be up just about 100% of the time, and it is triggered by overheat. So that's 12% extra anomaly power right there off the bat. I also went up and grabbed the wildfire just to help with overall cooldowns, 10%. You know, it's pretty good. You could, if you could potentially go up and grab that, which would give you a higher cooldown, 5% higher cooldown on your Ash Blast, but 10% overall or 5% on one, you know, I'm going to go with the 10%. you're going to go head up here to get Extinction, which is a great mod against dealing with elites and heavies, like bosses. Especially with this build, sometimes it can struggle with bosses. I'm just going to say that right now, guys. You might want to maybe use like the Kingslayer mod, the one that gives 25% extra damage to elites. You might want to use something like that. This build, I will just say as well, I would say this is a solo, maybe 2-man squad build. I have ran it in 3-man squads, and I was doing loads of damage. I finished with 3 times as many kills as everyone else, but my damage wasn't as good because I was killing all the ads, but I wasn't doing much damage against the bosses. And then the last turn, what I've done here is I've gone the upper route, which gives you extra weapon and anomaly damage, a bit of skill at leech, and then you're going to come in, grab the Trial by Fire to get extra damage against enemies that are affected by burn, and lastly you're going to be finishing with Magma Elemental. Pretty much every other Ash Blast build I've seen has gone up to here to get the Graver Blaze, to get you higher explosive damage and cooldown. However, doing this way, I don't think you're doing much less damage because you're punching through resistances. So with this build, you have much more survivability, but you've got almost the same amount of damage, which when you're playing solo, I think that's kind of the balance you're looking for, where you are able to survive but deal enough damage to kill everything. Even that, I mean, even with this slightly less damage, I can still generally, it maybe takes about 2 taps to kill like the, what's it called, the Juggernaut captains and all that. But if you've cast 3 heat waves on it, you can basically shoot them down. You can burst them down your Infernal Seed and you'll be fine. So that's it, guys. That is the build. I've been running this now for about 2 days, but I've done maybe 50 excavations in that time. I've played quite a little bit of testing. In that time, maybe 80% of my runs have been gold. And that's been running solo. The other 20% have been one-tapped by, invisible enemies at the other side of the map who can still one-shot you through walls. That's still a thing after the update. Anyway, guys, that is the build. Let me know if you enjoy it, and I'll see you in the next video, guys.